Hello, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my new channel, Hannah's Books. I thought I'd start out by introducing myself and answering the Booktube Newbie Tag so you can learn a little more about my literary tastes and interests. The first question is, why did you start this channel? I've been lurking on Booktube for a couple of years, but serious camera shyness has kept me from creating my own channel. Now, however, I'm biting the bullet. I was inspired to push myself by Claudia's discussion on Spinster's Library of the new skills she wants to learn this fall, now that the school year is beginning afresh. Even though I no longer follow an academic calendar, I too think of autumn as the season to embark on new adventures and challenges. So here I am with my heart pounding in my ears as I try to have a casual conversation with the camera lens in front of me, picturing it standing there in its underwear. My larger inspiration for creating this channel was the upcoming celebration of Victober, where during the month of October, booktubers celebrate Victorian writers, including some of my personal favorite authors like the Bronte sisters and Thomas Hardy. I'll provide a link to the Victober hosts below. This year I'm especially excited to participate in a subgroup of Victober, Knit and Listen, where participants will listen to an audiobook of George Eliot's Adam Bede while knitting. How perfect for the cool days ahead. You'll be seeing my TBR in a couple of weeks with my thoughts on how I might meet the various reading challenges. You'll also be seeing my TBK, that is, to be knit, with favorite patterns and yarn choices. Question 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I'm afraid I'll bring nothing especially fun or unique to Booktube, but like the rest of you, I never shut up about books, and I'm looking forward to having a new outlet for my bookish babblings. Question 3. What are you most excited about for this new channel? Both a social and nerdy exchange of ideas here make Booktube an exciting place to spend time. I love seeing book recommendations, reviews, analysis, and literary history in your videos. Those are the things that initially drew me to Booktube, but what I didn't realize before was how warm and wonderful this community of bookish friends is. I'm thrilled to be part of it. Question 4. Why do you love reading? When I was a little girl, my father teased me that if the ice cream truck drove past, or even if the fire alarms went off, I'd be so buried in my latest book that I wouldn't notice. And he knew he would be sitting right next to me, thoroughly engrossed in his own book, so much so that he would never look up either. Well, I don't want to miss that fire alarm. I do crave that sense of losing myself and living in a book. It happens with novels, but it also happens when I'm reading nonfiction. Question 5. What book got you into reading? I can't remember a time when I didn't read. Every week when my first grade class went in for a library day, we could choose a picture book or two from a group of books on a long table, pre-selected for us by the librarian. When I commented one week that I'd already read all the choices, the librarian grinned, waved to the back shelves, and told me to pick out anything I wanted. I chose the fattest book I could find, a dark blue cloth-bound biography of Helen Keller. The book completely sucked me in, starting a long history of loving to read. Interestingly, through a long circuitous path, I eventually began studying the history of deafness and disability as part of my career. I'll explain more about that in a future video. The first real novel I fell in love with was Louisa May Alcott's Little Women. From the time I was in 3rd grade until I graduated from high school, I think I must have read Little Women every winter as I watched the people around me celebrating Christmas right along as the March family did in the book. When I was very young, I saw parts of me in all 4 of the sisters. In those early years, I was especially drawn to the first part of the novel, full of stories of the girls when they were young. When I read the novel again several years ago, I was surprised how much I was drawn instead to the second part, dealing with their complex lives as the young women matured. One of the things I love about literature is how much books seem to grow and change as we grow and change. Approaching old favorites after I've grown myself always gives me new windows on the themes of those books, be they fiction or nonfiction. With the new film version of Little Women coming out in late December, I'm interested in rereading Little Women that month, along with other novels by Alcott, as well as a biography or two, and perhaps more analytical study of her work. Does anyone know if there's already a read-along scheduled? If not, would any of you be interested in joining me in December for an Alcott celebration? Let me know in the comments. Question 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I would love to ask them if particular books have shaped their personalities. For me, a couple of works I read in early high school, especially Antigone and Jane Eyre, feature characters that profoundly shaped who I became. I'll talk about my sometimes awkward connections to these books in future videos, but I have a feeling that other bookish people might have similar experiences, and I'd love to hear about which books shaped them and how. Finally, question 7. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I mentioned that my relationship with my camera is a bit troubled. But my larger challenge may be that a family member is facing a personal situation that will eventually require more of my time and my emotional energy. Despite my concerns, I also realize that involvement with Booktube might be a great source of pleasure, connection, distraction for me then too. Thanks for joining me. Next time, I'm planning to talk about my reading plans for the rest of September, including participation in the latter part of ShakeTube 2019. See you then.